Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the TexAgs High School Football Show, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Academy has all your high school football road trip needs this season. Get the right gear for the long season with free curbside pickup today at Academy Sports and Outdoors. All right, everybody, welcome back. TexAgs High School Football Show, the Week 8 edition. Ryan Brauninger and Jason Howell with you again, the TexAgs recruiting team. Wrapping up another week on the road, getting prepared to go back out on the road. And then, Jason, it's crazy that we're in week 8 and the regular season's only got a few more weeks left, and it's flown by. You know, there's so much build up, and you wait all off season to get back under those Friday night lights, and man, it flies by once it gets going.
October, I mean, geez, it like you said, there's I love this time of year, and then I hate to see it go, but my goodness, so much action already, and yeah, like you said, it has flown by. We're almost, I mean, we're about 2-3 games in district play for most of these districts, and so that means you're about halfway done.
Yeah, and I get, we always start with where we were on the weekend. I actually want to start with a question for you in Dallas, and it's a team that we haven't brought up one time in this podcast all year. The Burleson Centennial Spartans. They upset Denton Ryan. They move into the rankings for the first time all year. How good is that Burleson Centennial team?
Oh, they're awesome. They play a unique style. They run the clock. They grind you. They're well coached. They're a disciplined football team, and they've been dismantling teams throughout the year. I brought them up last week, so they have been brought up. I mentioned that Denton Ryan. This was going to be a big contest for them at the very end, I think, of last week's podcast. And it was. I mean, they gave Ryan all they could handle and more, and came out with a 23-16 win. And they've got another big test this week with Alito. So that both of them are undefeated in district play, and that's going to be a huge matchup for that. District. I want to say. I may be making this up. I may be seeing things, but I want to say the projections right now have a Denton Ryan Lake Belton playoff matchup from I think it's round 1.
Well, I would imagine that would take place somewhere in Waco area, and I would be there for that, no question.
I mean, talk about two powerhouses that won't make it out of the first round, if that comes to be. Right. But I mean but yeah, Ryan suffered a big loss, and Centennial's doing work, and they'll grind you. They got some ball players. They got a few D1 prospects. They got a kid that's committed to TCU, and a few others out there that are worth watching. But they've really come on strong, and they're grinding them out, man. They're putting some points on the board.
It seems like they're kind of the sum is greater than the individual parts kind of team. Like, maybe not the high end talent of Denton Ryan, but when you put all their collective parts together, they're really tough to beat.
Oh yeah. They get it done, like I said, and it's like when those early years with now with Jimbo, you see A&M kind of grind that clock a bit and slow that tempo down, and if you can keep those keep the other offense off the field, then you can. Sorry, we got visitors, so
no, it's okay.
But if you can keep that offense off the field, you can you can grind it to a halt and keep them out of that rhythm.
Well, in high school football, the 12-minute quarters, man, if you get a team that can really move the chains and methodically move the ball down the field, you look up and there's 3 minutes left in the quarter, and they've had the ball for the entirety of it. So really interesting. Also, there's 2 ISDs that I think the district races within the ISDs are wild. Yeah. And one of them's up in your neck of the woods in Frisco, and one's in my neck of the woods of Katy. Those 2 ISDs, when you look at the district standings, like how all that's going to sort itself out, that's going to be like one of the really key things that I'm looking forward to going into playoff time.
Yeah, and one of those teams is a new Frisco team, Frisco Emerson. They have a big Thursday night matchup with Argyle, two undefeated teams. Argyle's a little more battle tested and a lot more known on the Texas high school front. But Emerson, man, they're doing some work out there, and they've got some young underclassmen that are going to be coming on the recruiting radar for a lot of people. I want to say their quarterback may have, what did he do? Yeah, their quarterback, Daryl Shelton, last week, 2025, 13 to 24 passing for 273 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then he had 12 carries for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's doing some work out there. He's doing some heavy lifting. That offense is rolling. They're doing some big things.
It's funny because those two school districts you mentioned Emerson,
Yeah,
Katy ISD. Katy Jordan's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
New school,
mm-hmm.
a lot of really intriguing underclass talent. They throw the ball around. They score a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
They're right there in the thick of a playoff hunt there in that Katy ISD district. But so we've talked a little bit about what's happened around the state, but let's go ahead and get into where you were last week.
Well, I was at Lovejoy for the Lucas Lovejoy Princeton game. I knew it was going to be a bit of a boat race. I thought Lovejoy.
We both had stinkers on Thursday.
I thought it was going to be a blowout. I figured I might get an easy win here and see a couple guys in the first half and cruise the second half. And Lovejoy didn't have Jackson Lavender play. Their SMU wide receiver commit, who's runs a ridiculously fast 100-meter. I think it's 10.76, and just brings the speed and quickness to the table there. Or Peyton Pierce. Peyton was out. They were holding him out for precautionary reasons, both of them. But without those guys, it was 56-0, and they were kneeling on the ball in the final minute of the first half. So the final score, 70-0. Lucas Lovejoy over Princeton. Dalen McCutcheon, another prospect I was out there to see, a 2025 receiver with a Texas A&M offer, 2 receptions, 70 yards, a touchdown early in the first quarter. So he definitely did his thing, and Lucas Lovejoy, they got those 2 losses, but those are to some tough teams. I want to say North Crowley, and I'm blanking on the other one, but it was a pretty tough matchup early in the year, and they're going to be fun to watch come playoff time with their receiving core of they've got, including Lavender, they've got Kyle Parker, who's committed to LSU. They've got Parker Livingstone, a 2024 receiver with several Division Power 5 offers, and then they've got Dalen McCutcheon in the 2025 class who's reeling them in. That's ridiculous.
The best receiving core in the state.
Yeah, if there's another receiving core out there, I want to see it. But these guys definitely bring it, and they've got some dudes in the trenches as well. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch. And then I was at Duncanville Waxahachie on Friday night, and that one was closer than a lot of people expected. I thought Waxahachie had a chance to make it a really good ball game, and they did. They were up 7-0 at halftime. Duncanville couldn't get that offense going. They had some opportunities, and it was they fumbled on the goal line, and the 2 plays later, Waxahachie takes it for a touchdown. So they hit the big play and sent it to halftime, but it was all Duncanville in the second half. I want to say 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions by Duncanville. Colin Simmons was he wrecked shop in the backfield all night long. DeCorian Moore had a 38-yard reception in the first half. He was going up against Calvin Simpson Hunt, Ohio State commit, all game long. I thought he really did well, even though he was only targeted 2 or 3 times in the game. But he did a really good job, whether it was blocking or running routes and creating separation when he wasn't being targeted. So he did a phenomenal job throughout the game. Yeah, it was a great effort by both squads, but Duncanville pulled it out. Waxahachie, I've said it a few times, Waxahachie is going to be a tough out come playoffs.
Yeah, I had a similar stinker situation on Thursday night, Katy versus Katy Pato.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to get into what's happened this week at Katy
Yeah.
Pato, but I mean, you're seeing a lot of resignations. They've got a lot of coaching turnovers. I just want to send my best wishes to the kids on that team. That's tough for any kid to go through. David Hicks Sr. is going to take over as the interim head coach, a guy that me and you think extremely highly of.
They're in great hands with him for sure.
Yeah, so hopefully those kids can rally around him, and they're right in the middle of a playoff hunt. But on Friday night, Katy did what Katy does, and they run at that front seven, then play action, and they were having huge success in the play action game. Katie's not typically thought to be a big play offense.
Yeah.
But they were on Friday night because those play action passes they had guys running wide open in the secondary, and man, they do what they do and nobody can stop it. And you know what's going to happen. You still can't do anything about it. They win to the tune of 54-0. And really, like, you look at a game like that and think, man, like, DJ Hicks had a rough night or Damian Sanford had a rough night. I thought they both played pretty well.
Yeah.
But as a collective, they were just not even in the same stratosphere as Katy. And there aren't many teams that are right now. I was kind of down on this Katy team before the season because they lost so much off of last year's team.
Yeah.
But man, they're playing extremely well together. They're going to get their best receiver back from injury pretty soon. He's missed the last 4 or 5 weeks with a collarbone. So, I mean, look for the Tigers to be right there back in the hunt to make a run to Arlington at AT&T Stadium. On Friday night, went over to Willis to see Willis take on the Woodlands College Park, a big district matchup in terms of seeding and playoff kind of structure and positioning there in that North Houston 6A district. And DJ Lagway, 2024 quarterback at Willis, was incredible. I mean, highly rated kid. We knew that going in. And, there were some things that you wanted to see him take the next step on, right?
Yeah.
From sophomore tape to his junior tape, and just kind of tighten this game up a little bit.
Be more consistent. Yeah.
A little bit more consistent. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, Coach Trent Miller and that high-flying offense that he brought over with him from spring was the perfect recipe for DJ and these young receivers. It's hard to get true stats. I've seen a bunch of different graphics. Here's what I know. He threw 3 incompletions all night, and he threw 5 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
And I believe he was over 30 attempts on the evening. So
that's what you call a good ratio.
Yeah, in the first half, he accounted for every offensive yard that Willis had on the ground through the air. So just an incredible performance. They ended up running away from College Park. I think the final score was 49-24. And I think one of those touchdowns to make it look a little bit closer than it was. But the second half was all Lagway and all Willis, and now they've set themselves up. DJ's been hobbled. He had the high ankle thing, and he told me he's not back to full fitness yet, but he's getting closer every week. So Willis is going to be a problem in that district schedule in the back half because the way they're going to be able to score the football. And, you get into a shootout with them, and they've certainly got the weapons to withstand that. Put me down as a guy that thinks Willis can get a couple upset victories in the playoffs because of that offense and the way they go about it, DJ Lagway. But
anytime you have a great quarterback like that, you can see one in you're not expecting.
They've also got DeBron Hampton, Jalen Mickens, Daleon Robinson. Amari Holmes is a kid that moved in this year from Shadow Creek at 2024. Okay. So they've got plenty of skilled talent as well. And they were doing it without their sophomore running back, Terry Lawrence, who's lost for the year with a knee injury. So all those guys are coming back next year. Yeah. So not only is Willis set up to be really good this year, but they ought to be insanely good next year in 2023. But all right, Jason. So that was our weekend. We kind of went over some stuff that was happening in Houston and in Dallas. Where are you headed this weekend?
Well, this weekend I'm going to start things off with South Lake Carroll at Keller Central. Going to go see punter Tyler White, Texas A&M commit, and Texas A&M 2025 tight end target Jack Van Dorselaer. South Lake Carroll's coming off a big win over Keller last week. Both teams were undefeated. This was one I mentioned that they had a chance. It was one to watch, and they were pushed. Keller just just couldn't pull it out. It was 38-35 Southlake at the end. But Southlake is now down a quarterback. Caden Anderson looks like he's gone for the year. And that's one of my teams I predicted to win state. That was one of my favorite. That was my favorite. And we'll see what happens with the quarterback situation there. But this week should be a good test for them. Keller Central has some solid talent. Quarterback Keldon Ryan's one of the best quarterbacks in 2025, so he'll be one to watch as well. But overall, Central is 1-5 on the season, and so they've had some struggles. So this should be an opportunity for Southlake to kind of find their rhythm with the new guy under center. And then on Friday night, I'll be at Denton Guyer or be at Braswell actually to see Denton Guyer take on Denton Braswell. Check out Peyton Bowen. I got a feeling I'm gonna run into a few A&M coaches while I'm out there. But Guyer 6-0, and as far as state championship title contenders in the DFW area, with that injury to Caden, they were already up there, but this kind of cements them at the very top of my list right now. Guyer and Braswell at Braswell on Friday night.
Well, it's interesting too because I think there are a lot of schools in the state now with Southlake down a quarterback, North Shore down a quarterback. They're going, could this be our year?
Mm-hmm.
And Austin Westlake has been playing their backup because their starter has been hearing he's supposed to be back this week. So we'll see what happens. And there's a little segue into my weekend. On Thursday, I'll be heading to Richmond Foster against Manville on the south side of Houston. No A&M offers in that game, but a ton of young talent on both sides. And I always enjoy bumping into Coach McDowell at Richmond Foster as well as Coach Hall there at Manville. They go out of their way to treat you the best they can and make you feel so welcome and so at home whenever you cover their game. So really enjoy that, and I appreciate them doing that. I mean, that's part of what makes this job so awesome is getting to build those relationships. And kind of when you walk in the building, they make sure that you're taken care of. So down there at Freedom Field in Iowa Colony, beautiful stadium for that one on Thursday night. And then on Friday, I'm headed west to the Hill Country to see Austin Westlake and take on the undefeated and top 15 ranked Dripping Springs Tigers. Again, I feel like I may bump into some A&M coaches there. Obviously, TJ Shanahan, offensive line commit for A&M, who's had a fantastic year there at Austin Westlake. He'll lead the Chaparrals into a huge district battle against an undefeated and really kind of everybody knows who Austin Novosad is.
Yeah.
But it's not just him. Dripping Springs does it to you in a lot of different ways. They play good defense. He's got plenty of talent to throw the ball to. Novosad's a kid that A&M made a huge push for in the summer. He stuck with his commitment to Baylor. Still think I've not heard anything that says he's not going to sign with Baylor, but A&M still interested. Ohio State coaches are going to be in the building, from what I understand. They're still interested, and that should be a great matchup. And anytime that you can add a trip to the Salt Lick Barbecue joint,
there you go,
on a Friday night to your travel plans, you always do it. So I'll have some good barbecue.
There you go.
And go watch a really good Texas high school football game there in the Hill Country. We got anything else we need to get to, Jason?
I got a few big games. I thought I might drop out there. We've talked about a few of them. Argyle at Frisco Emerson should be a fun one on Thursday night. Duncanville has another big district matchup with Mansfield, both teams undefeated at Duncanville. Allen and McKinney, two undefeated district teams, one loss on the season. Should be a fun one up there. We hit Aledo and Burleson Centennial, and a team that you brought up last week, Byron Nelson, who may be the leader in the clubhouse to win that district there with Southlake now down the quarterback, takes on Keller. So that'll be a fun one with what's his name? Jake Wilson leading Byron Nelson. He's almost got 2,000 yards on the season, 23 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. That'll be a fun one, kind of off the radar for a lot of teams. And then there's Hurst LD Bell at with Boswell, Fort Worth Boswell coming to town. One-loss teams that are really playing some good ball. Like the Keller teams and Keller and Byron Nelson, they're a little bit off the normal radar, but they're really playing some good ball. If you're looking for a good game to get out to, that should be a fun contest.
Yeah, I did want to shout out one game and look at something that I'd kind of hinted at the week before with the injury to Caleb Bailey at North Shore.
Mm-hmm.
David Amador makes his first start for North Shore last week against Humble Summer Creek, and the Bulldogs and Coach Harrison pushed them to the limit. North Shore wins 35-27. Keep an eye on, because there is a Atascocita North Shore game coming up. And if North Shore with a backup quarterback can beat an Atascocita team that's rolling, then you really start worrying about them in the playoffs. But that's a huge game, making plans to be at that. I think, man, I'd have to give the edge to Atascocita.
Yeah.
Right now, with the way they've been playing and no Caleb Bailey. If all things were equal, it's hard not to pick the North Shore against anybody.
I do like what's his name, Amador.
Yeah.
I mean, such a phenomenal, gutsy athlete. He's one of those guys that, we just see him make play after play with state championships, 7-on-7. He's out there. He's ready for the big moment, and he doesn't get enough credit out there. And to see him step in at quarterback and do what he's doing out there, it's awesome to watch. And if anybody can step in and do it, I think, I'm not counting him out anytime soon.
And also keep an eye here locally on the College Station Cougars, starting to figure things out. Arrington Maiden, their junior quarterbacks, kind of starting to find his feet a little bit. New head coach, all that stuff. I was down on them early in the year. They're starting to find their way now and score a lot of points. And so certainly got the playoff pedigree even as a young school. Keep an eye on the Cougars here locally. But that's the Week 8 edition of the TexAgs High School Football Show. For Jason Howell, and I'm Ryan Brauninger. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.